Alien franchise has had quite a rough go at it these past few years. Prometheus and Alien Covenant were both incredibly disappointing prequels in the iconic franchise, answering questions and explaining mysteries that audiences never asked to be answered or explained, and establishing themselves as the poster children for characters making profoundly dumb decisions to advance the plot, though I will argue that no one insulted our intelligence quite as egregiously as M. Night Shyamalan's Trap. So while the Alien franchise has entered Terminator levels of this iconic franchise are only iconic because the first two movies are good territory, the blueprint for success has been laid out for it, and that's to return to your roots. Returning to your roots feels quite popular in the entertainment world. Whether it's Assassin's Creed Mirage's blatant attempt at evoking the nostalgia of the original Assassin's Creed, or the decision of The Force Awakens to be a cut and paste copy of the plot of the original Star Wars, hitting the reset button just seems like the way to go, and say what you will about it, but it produces results. So that's what Ridley Scott decided to do with Alien Romulus, hiring director Fede Alvarez to galvanize Alien fans into theaters not by promising to evolve the franchise, but by reminding you why you fell in love with it in the first place, returning to the horror roots of the first movie. And it absolutely works, delivering a palate cleanser of a horror science fiction film, one which could make you forgive the sins of the past few. Director Fede Alvarez, who previously directed the fantastic Don't Breathe, brings his horror sensibilities to this installment, delivering on an experience that will genuinely have you on the edge of your seat. It's hard for me to feel not only tense during a horror movie, but genuinely fearful. Most horror movies create an atmosphere of eeriness, but in terms of movies which have terrified me, I can count them on one hand, and that's It Follows, Hereditary, and yeah, that's pretty much it. Well, now you can add Alien Romulus to that super exclusive Cool Kids Club. Whenever the film goes silent, which it uses masterfully to create tension and immerse you in the lack of sound in space, you're holding onto your seat for dear life. Like a mere pin drop will send you flying off your chair. Alvarez is a gutsy director who is not afraid to consistently mire the characters in horrific consequences. You know he'll go places other directors won't go, so you're holding your breath in anticipation about whether your favorite character will be alive within the next 5 minutes, which highlights the most essential ingredient of any horror film, which this movie does incredibly well. If I don't care about your characters, or even worse, can't stand them, it stands to reason that I won't give a damn whether their head will be eaten off in 5 minutes. I mean, even though I love and celebrate unlikable characters in fiction, horror is the one genre where it is essential that audiences do not despise your character. I mean, if you throw Joffrey into an Alien movie, it all falls apart because the entire time you'll be praying that the xenomorph finds him and chews his head off, and now it's an entirely different movie. Romulus understands this and creates a compelling cast of characters led by Rain, played by the consistently incredible Kaylee Spaney. Though the performance is not as layered as her work in Civil War, Devs, or even Priscilla, she manages the seemingly effortless yet important job of getting you, as the audience, to like her. I gotta give a shout out to David Johnson as Andy, Rain's android brother. I've never seen this dude in anything before, so it came as a complete shock to me that he delivered one of the best portrayals I've seen of an android in just about anything. Whenever an actor plays an artificial intelligence being, they tend to sound completely human like Scarlett Johansson in Her, or lean heavily into the robot speak direction like Terminator, which absolutely works in those movies, but I was impressed by how David Johnson played the character with an artificial humanity, which feels like it exists in an uncanny valley realm. Though Alvarez has only been directing films for 11 years, with this being his fourth, he directs this movie with the instincts of a veteran director. Though I love the Marvel Cinematic Universe, it's hard to argue that the visual style of those movies is anything if not generic, which has been emulated by other blockbuster films such as The Flash or Red Notice. Well, you can't accuse Alien Romulus of being visually boring. In the lead up to the film, the marketing placed a strong emphasis on how heavily they leaned into practical effects, getting as much accomplished in camera as they could. It's a decision that absolutely pays off. Every threat, every alien life form feels completely real and tangible, captured in all of its practical glory by cinematic cinematographer Gallo Oliveras, who also captures large-scale gorgeous shots of space which make this horror film feel simultaneously intimate yet epic in scope. While Oliveras creates a visually compelling portrayal of space, it's Benjamin Wallfish's pulse-pounding score which feels just as alien as the movie which inspires it, all combining together to create an immersive experience. It isn't a perfect film, and in fact I'm frustrated that the flaws hinder this from being an absolute marvel. Though a 2-hour runtime isn't inherently long, it feels a little too long for this movie. The final 15 minutes or so could have been tightened up, because as it is, the movie has the awful effect of leaving you thinking, wait, I thought this movie was about to end, and it still isn't over, and that happens again and again. Yeah, it's the first 20 minutes of the movie which drag more than anything. If you go to a comedy movie and the first 20 minutes is nothing but setting up punchlines to be paid off later on in the movie, you would think that's egregious, yet for some reason, people are willing to forgive a horror movie for not having a single scare for the majority of the first act. Well, that isn't gonna be me, and I have to call out the fact that this horror movie takes a little too long to actually start inducing horror. On another note, even though the movie is visually amazing for the most part, there is one specific special effect involving a humanoid android and the likeness of an actor from a previous movie, which looks incredibly fake and off-putting. But a bad special effect and some bad pacing here and there are enough to crumble this great installment, which resuscitates and breathes new life into a franchise in dire need of it. If you hated how the Prometheus sequels explain too much of the lore, you'll be pleased to know that Romulus is more concerned with playing in the sandbox than it is with justifying it. And if you thought the characters were ridiculously stupid in the past few movies, making decisions which are written into the script solely to move the story forward, you'll be happy to know that the story of this film services the characters and not vice versa. If you're one of those religious Alien fans that knows the original movie inside and out, then maybe this will be a little too derivative for your liking, but as a more casual watcher of these movies, I had a blast. It captures a similar feel of terror as the Alien Isolation game, which is my favorite installment in the Alien franchise, which is an incredibly impressive feat, and I'm giving this one an 8 out of 10. Thank you very much for watching. If you enjoyed the video, please hit the subscribe button and leave us a like, cause it really helps. And if you've had the chance to see Alien Romulus, let us know what you thought about it in the comments below. I'm Cinemike, and I'll see you next time.